Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of the Chessbait Drivecast, your one-stop shop for kind of controversial topics and kind of controversial opinions. Maybe have some more Galaxy in the background, maybe have something Mario Kart related that has to do with space in the background. Either way, today we're talking about space. But more importantly, we're talking about nothingness. So, this train of thought kind of developed in my mind while I was thinking of, hey, what are some Drivecast ideas that people in the past have offered to me? And one of the really good ones that for some reason hadn't come to my mind was space. And wow, this is a very loud car. Anyways, yeah, whenever I edit, I always know that things are going to be extremely loud. Hey, future me, how you doing? I hope you're doing pretty good. And how are you, everyone that's watching on the other screen, like 3 months from when I'm recording? Seriously. Man, it feels so weird that I'm recording the same season and I'm editing it, but I'm like 20 episodes behind, so it's so weird, but never mind. Never mind that. So yeah, someone thought of the idea of space, and personally, I don't know why I never thought of it. I've always been interested in space. You know, as a kid, drawing planets, drawing fan art of Super Galaxy was always one of my favorite things to do, and I should have turned left. Doesn't matter. My point is that I love space. You know, space is amazing. Who doesn't love space, man? Space is the final frontier, and it's, you know, first it was the western side of the United States, then it was Alaska, but space is genuinely the final frontier. It's the final thing that we have it's not that we haven't conquered it, it's that we haven't completely conquered it, just because there's so much out there to conquer. And this is a bit of a side tangent, but then again, most of this show is a side tangent. I remember once I saw an educational video, or, you know, an informative video on what the logistics of conquering space would actually be like, which seemed really interesting. So everybody knows that English people came into the United States on the Mayflower. You know, there's a bunch of people in the U.S. whose ancestors came on the Mayflower. That's pretty cool and all. But there's also plenty of other people that came to the U.S. through, you know, the Vikings. There were plenty of French people that settled here, especially around where I live. There were plenty of Germans, plenty of Italians, plenty of Jews. They call the United States the melting pot, whatever. But the point is that plenty of people came over through the Atlantic Ocean. And it was quite the journey, because a lot of people don't make it. Whether it was through the boats full of slaves, which I don't want to get into right now. I do not want to get into that conversation, or whether it was just normal citizens folk who wanted to embark on a new adventure across the ocean. Either way, my point is that there's a good majority of not majority probably, but a good chunk of people that didn't make it through just that journey alone. Not even living in the United States, just making through that journey. And at the very least, the safety section of, you know, the safety of the passengers, if we were to ever colonize other planets or other galaxies, would be relatively safe, hopefully. I don't know. My point is that society up to now has at least been civilized enough to be able to, for the most part, ensure the safety of all of their passengers. How do I put this? But ignoring all that, the point is that the technology that we need to colonize another planet is still just as far away as when we're trying to colonize America, or just people as a whole. Because even though people talk about the singularity of most things, you know, usually when we talk about singularity, there's also a singularity in space. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the technological singularity, where technology improves itself so much that we actually can't keep up with it. That AI is able to improve technology on its own so much that it just becomes a recursive thing, and all we can do is just sit back and watch them improve themselves infinitely. If you guys know what a logarithmic graph is, if you guys really don't like math, think of it as a graph, I don't know, y equals 2 to the x. So every time x increases by 1, the y doubles itself, right? And sure, when you first start, you know, 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, it's not that big. But only after, was it like 30 steps, I think, 40 steps, you get to a number bigger than a Google, which, you know, is the limit on the which is the limit of a calculator's output. That's the highest number that a standard TA83 can output. But what was the point? A logarithmic graph can grow very fast. That's my point. Okay. It starts out slow, but once it gets going, it gets super duper fast, and that's what the singularity is. And if we're talking about the singularity, we can also think about just progression of society as a whole as a logarithmic graph. And the really neat thing is that even though the jump from colonizing most of the world to colonizing space is much further away than going from colonizing the rest of Europe / Africa to colonizing America, it's still, how do I say this? In terms of a time perspective, they're actually really similar, because when we're talking about the future or current stage or current time, technology grows a lot faster than it did, back in those days, in the 1600s or such. So people have estimated, I'm really just getting around the point here, people have estimated that it would take, 200, 300 years to, at the very least, make Mars habitable, and then, or at least make it to the point where it doesn't have to be a vacation spot that we have to go back every 10 years, and be a place where we can put people, where we can put people there and just leave them alone, and then everything will be fine. And I don't know, it's really weird to think that we're not that far off from Mars being a planet that people live in. I don't know, don't other people find that a bit bizarre? Just the fact that, this planet where we used to meme about aliens living in, might actually have people in the relatively near future, at least compared to history standards. Let's be real here. 200 years is not that far away. Sure, for us it's very far away, but in the grand scheme of things, it's almost nothing. Anyways, I gotta pause, so I will be back. Alright, we're back. I don't know, it's just really bizarre to think about the fact that, this land, which we used to think is super foreign, in a couple of 100 years, reasonably could be our neighbors. It could be the equivalent of, like, this person in this other state I used to never be able to see, but now we can see it, we can visit them by a simple taxi, or a simple, what do they call it? Uber. There we go. We can go to Mars through a simple Uber. Someone can beam me up all the way to Mars. Obviously, I'm thinking a bunch of sci-fi stuff for no reason, but you get my point, though. It's really bizarre to think that, technology has advanced so much that, wow, things can get that far. But going back to the topic of space as a whole, the thing that I actually wanted to talk about is just nothingness. Because when you think of space, obviously you think of galaxies, you think of the very shiny stars, and, there's certain people that want to think about the planets that we could possibly live in, because the one we're living in is a kind of a hellhole, and it's kind of going to die in a couple 100 years, because global warming has made the Earth very dangerous to live in. And I'm not going to get into that conversation, okay? Again, there's a lot of other things that we can get to, but that's not something that we really want to get to at the moment. The thing I do want to get at is black holes. The thing that a lot of people think about are the black holes. And also the emptiness of space as a whole. Because, a little science fact for those of you who, for some reason, didn't go to school and didn't learn anything from astronomy. Guys, space is the coolest science. Why would you never learn anything from there? But, little fact for you. Most of space is really just air. Not even air. It's just nothing. Most of it is hydrogen gas. The little thing that goes into H2O. That thing. And it's not even the O part. Not even the big one. It's the H part. The really small one. And space has so little stuff that it's considered a vacuum. You guys know what? To explain what a vacuum is. You guys know what a vacuum cleaner is, and how it sucks air. How do I say this? It sucks air out of wherever you are and into a plastic bag, and that the air that would be in the plastic bag is sucked back out of the vacuum cleaner. Imagine, how do I say this? The concept of a vacuum is really similar. You take air out of a given area or volume, whatever you want to call it, and that is a vacuum because it has almost nothing in it. That's not really a good explanation. So think about the space right in front of you, unless if you're in a crowded bus or a train station, then I'm sorry. Then think about the space above you. If you're just cramped and, I don't know, if you literally have no space around you, then I'm sorry, this analogy is not going to work for you. But just think of the space somewhere around you that has nothing but air. Now, take a good look at that, and imagine if there was no air. It's kind of hard to imagine considering that the air is already invisible and you can't see it. But if you just look at nothing, and then imagine whatever's in that nothing, or what looks like nothing. Imagine if you just took everything out of that. That's what space is, basically. And it's really scary to think about, because nothingness is kind of a concept that's completely shrouded in mystery. You can't have nothing. Because if you had nothing, then none of the laws of physics would work. Actually, yeah, that's basically it. None of the laws of chemistry would work. None of the laws of physics would work. Math would just not exist. It's kind of like dividing by zero. It's just, why would you even bother? Sure, you could do it, but it's not going to get you anything done. According to mathematicians, dividing by zero, all that does is, if you divide by zero, that means you can make 1 equal 2. But that means 1 equals 3, and 1 equals 4. And what's the point from there? It's like, if you tell one lie, then you could just tell a billion lies. And I'll be real with you, the laws of math do not lie. They do not like to lie. Quoting a certain person, facts and logic. God, I love-hate quoting those. Loving those memes. But, okay, you know what? We talked about nothing. Let's talk about black holes now. I don't know, black holes are just kind of scary to think about. Thinking about the fact that literally anything can become a black hole. The person I just drove past can become a black hole for all I know. If somehow spontaneously they got crushed to the size of a water molecule. If this planet that we're on right now could turn into a black hole, unless if you guys are watching from Mars 200 years from now, 300 years from now, then I would actually be really concerned and really impressed that the human race survived for that long. But hi guys, if you guys are watching, you're watching the Disney Channel. You're not. It's my YouTube channel, Chessbait Drivecast. Gosh, tangents on tangents. But the reason black holes are so scary is that light is supposed to be the fastest thing alive. That's light. Not light Yagami, just light. Now, imagine some random dude, decided to come in and beat him up. New kid in school decided, hey, I'm stronger than this dude, and he beats him up. That's the black hole. Everyone's shocked that it's even possible, because the strongest kid's been the strongest kid for who knows how long. He's been the strongest kid in the entire playground for years. Actual years. No one's ever been able to beat him. And now, new kid in town just kind of beats him up. And when people first discovered black holes, that's what people really thought about. This bizarre thing that, for some reason, shouldn't exist, but does. And I will be real with you, astronomists don't really care about black holes as much as people who, educational YouTubers who want to talk about, the craziness of space. Because if they want to talk about something crazy, it's usually a black hole. But there's always stuff that's crazier than that. I could get into the topic of of quasars. I can get into the topic of supernovas. I can talk about just giant bits of space that doesn't have anything in it. But why is something playing? Did I start something over by accident? No, I didn't. Well, what? Let me go back. Gosh. I just finished a topic, and my phone decides to just pause on me. So at least that explains what that does on my phone. Anyways, we as a species have evolved so much that our memes die in a week, and a new iPhone somehow comes out next month. Even though, a new iPhone comes out every year. We're so technologically advanced that scalpers have let AI, not even us, a computer, buy off PS5s, like a fraction of a fraction of a fraction after they come out on Best Buys, on Amazons, and on eBays. And it's just kind of bizarre to think about. The fact that even though we've gone this far technology-wise, we're still nowhere near good enough to even be seen by aliens. Because let's be real, they probably exist, but we haven't seen any of them. And either they're like bacteria that we've never seen, or they're just so advanced that they don't even want to bother with us. It's like ants. They can have super massive tunnels underground, but we don't care to dig them up. Why would we care?